Fabiano Caruana makes his way to the game. He's playing Praggnanandhaa while Vincent Keimer takes on Wesley So for the third place. The grand finals of the Grand Chess Tour is between Praggnanandhaa and Fabiano Caruana. The first game was extremely intense as Prag had the black pieces. I'm going to show you that game, but first let me tell you the format. They're going to play 2 classical games, then 2 rapid games, and then 4 blitz games. 6 points in classical chess if you win, 4 points in rapid chess if you win, and 2 points for each win in blitz. So there are in all 28 points. It's going to span over 3 days with first and second classical games on day 1 and 2, and then the rapid and blitz on day 3. Now let's have a look at what transpired in the first classical game, as it was already a decisive encounter. The game between Praggnanandhaa and Fabiano started off with the Italian. Fabi was white and he played this knight c3 line, which is supposed to be not very ambitious, but he got a nice edge out of the opening by pushing his queenside pawns. Prag was a bit indecisive when he went back with his knight and Fabi's advantage grew a bit. But then we reached this position where Caruana has a space advantage, but Prag breaks in the center with d5. This is the critical moment because after pawn takes pawn, queen b3, here Prag could have taken the pawn, but instead he went king h7, giving this pawn on d5. But Prag's idea was rook d6. He wanted to attack the d3 pawn, and then his pieces are well placed. Fabi went back to c4, and now Prag had to take this pawn. It was a complex variation because Fabi would have entered with rook f7, and then comes a check, king h2, and queen d6. This is the only way to keep balance. After e5, you have to find the move rook takes e5. Very difficult. If you take here after queen e5, it's black who's winning, so you have to take on d1. And now after rook d5 check, queen f4, queen takes f4 check, rook takes f4. Notice how you can't take with the knight here because of rook g7, and this is actually game over with a check coming here. But you can go queen f4, rook f4, and now this very nice move, knight f4, defending the rook, and the game is equal. But Praggnanandhaa missed this moment and he played rook c8, and this is where Fabi went in for the kill with rook f7, a move that Prag could have missed if he saves the queen. Let's say queen d8, then after queen b5 he's very passive, and if he takes, which he did in the game, takes, rook takes, this is a terrible endgame, and Caruana managed to convert this without too many difficulties. He won and got 6 points on the board. This was a heartbreaking loss for Praggnanandhaa. He could have drawn if he was accurate, but Fabi put relentless pressure on him, and that gave Fabi a 6-point lead in the match. That's huge. But what I liked about this entire thing is that after losing his game, Prag sat there and began analyzing with Fabi. And you can see there, he's talking about these variations where he could have taken on d3 and then maybe rook e5. And I think Prag had seen it through, but couldn't really back his calculations, made an error, and Fabi was there to pounce on him. The second game was going to take place on the next day, and you could see Prag arrived with full energy, this time with the white pieces, and he asked Fabi to start the clock. The first game between Vincent and Wesley had ended in a draw, and so did the second one as well. Prag with white knew that he had to go for the kill, and so when Fabi played e4, e5, Prag decided to go all in. And so while the game of Wesley and Vincent was very solid, look at the position of Fabi and Prag. Crazy game. And This was a very stable position of Vincent and Wesley. The second game began with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and Pragg knew he had to go all out and hence played knight to g5. After d5 takes, knight a5, the game became extremely sharp, as here after bishop d6, knight c3, Fabi played knight f4, Pragg even went back bishop f1 to save the pawn, and this is how Pragg was a pawn up. Fabi gave up another pawn for compensation, and maybe bishop d3 was a better move, but here the game became extremely wild. And although Fabi was having compensation, he got back the pawns, he had given Pragg the bishop pair. And then we came to a key moment in this position. At this point, Pragg is actually winning. And if he pushes his pawn to a6, he would be winning this game. I'm not sure what Pragg did not like or whether he had less time, because now he has to find the move king a3, check, king b4, and this position is very difficult. Let's imagine you try to get here. I play c5, and after rook a1, there is rook b6 check, king e5, and bishop to c4. And along with, this bishop, rook and pawns, white is pressing and is winning the game. But instead, Pragg pushed c5. And at this moment, after king e5, he had like a minute on the clock or something. A second on the clock when he made the move. Look at the clock. Pragg was down to 1 second here as he made his move. And I think Pragg has mastered the art of making his moves with 1 second on the clock. Crazy. And in the end, this game, even though Pragg was 2 pawns up, was difficult to win because it's opposite colored bishops, and it eventually ended in a draw, which means that Fabi keeps his 6-point lead going into the rapid and blitz section. As Pragg was unable to win his game, this meant that now the score stands 9-3 in the favor of Fabiano Caruana as we end the classical section. Between Vincent and Wesley, both the classical games ended in a draw, and then they played a special blitz which was won by Vincent Keimer, so he got 2 extra points. For Pragg, it's simple now. He has 2 rapid games and 4 blitz games, a total of 16 points, and he has to bridge the gap of 6 points. Will he manage to win the Grand Chess Tour finals? Let's hope for the best.